All right, so maybe you're new to this wonderful world of social dancing and you want to be the cool kid on your block. I know I sure did. In this video, we're going to share 7 helpful tips and a lot of embedded ideas that will hopefully help you become a fantastic social dancer. So the first one is there's a lot of different dance styles that you can know. So you want to know your dance styles and know which song goes to which, of course, right? Because some of them can be different songs. You could dance a hustle and a cha-cha and a West Coast swing. Yeah. So you want to know that there's different dance styles out there and understands the ones you're going to target, right? That's number 1. Number 2 is know what you know. And so what we mean by this, what do we mean by this, Megan? I'm going to ask you.
Well, you want to make sure that you know the patterns that you know, yes?
Yes. So what I mean by that is know what you know. As the leader, I want to be able to take the patterns that I'm comfortable with and dance those a lot, right? So you want to build up reps. A lot of us want to go too far and dance too hard of stuff too early. Especially analytical leaders want to take the stuff that they know and just rep that a lot. And we're going to get into how you're going to dance that with different people. But from the follower's perspective, if I go out dancing, I am controlling the patterns that I'm doing. How do you handle not knowing what you're going to get?
As followers, we need to know what patterns are possible. And as we learn and grow each level that we are at, we are going to know more and more. But it's essentially just knowing each level that we know.
Yeah, so especially when you're taking group classes, we teach this when we travel a lot. I think leaders and followers should take group classes differently, and Megan actually hit on it. As the leader, I have to know what I know, right? I have to go through that class and try to remember what I'm going to tackle when I social dance. For the follower, though, you don't know what's in my brain or the next guy's brain or the next guy's brain, or lady if you're dancing reverse roles, but you want to know what's possible. So you have to kind of keep a Rolodex of all of the different things that you could encounter. So that's a different, I think it's different for leaders and followers in that respect. But then we get back to the actual dancing, right? So we're going to go out dancing, and this doesn't matter if it's ballroom or Latin or swing dancing, but you're going to have to use your connection, right? Yes. So we teach social dancing a lot on this channel, and we were competitive dancers in our day, but what I love about teaching social dancing is I get to take that competitive technique and only use what's necessary. So let me give you a couple examples. In ballroom dancing, I have to have some sort of a frame to communicate to my partner where we're going, right? I do not have to have the flexibility of a 25-year-old Eastern European with all of this stuff, right, to accomplish most social dancing. Same thing if I'm dancing with cha-cha, right? I know it's a grounded dance, but Megan doesn't care at all if I'm moving my hips or not. Does that make sense? Now, that being said, I'm going to go to a dance called West Coast Swing. We have another whole channel that we teach just West Coast Swing on. And that, my connection has to be, it's very important what I'm doing with my connection, right? So you have to master a couple of different connections. There's an away connection, there's a towards connection, and then there's a rotational connection, right? So you might use a towards connection to move towards my partner, right? You might be using an away connection, I'm going to exaggerate this, you might be using an away connection to lead my partner this way, right? You might be using rotational connections to create different shapes. Same thing here, the forward and back. If I'm dancing cha-cha, I need to be able to use a forward and away connection to communicate to my partner, right? I might need to be able to use some sort of a rotational connection to lead turns. So master the technique that's important to your dance style, right? And for us, that's mainly connection. It's not so much that I move my hips in cha-cha, more so than it is I can move my partner in cha-cha. So that's number 3, is to master the connection or the techniques that are important to your dance style. But then number 4 is have goals. And so what do I mean by this? And Megan says, well, I don't have goals, but you have goals, Miss Megan. We all have goals.
While I was competing.
When we're competing. So when you go out social dancing, I want to have a goal of what I'm trying to work on for that night, right? It might be patterns, it might be some of those techniques, but as a leader, I can have this goal. I think the same thing for the followers. I don't know how you'd approach it as the follower.
Maybe to follow your partner as well as possible.
This is what Megan defaults to, follow, right? Just follow. But this is where I think, talking about having goals, that communication becomes important. And I see people are very afraid to do this, but when they do it well, it really helps your social dancing and just your overall communication. Just be honest, right? So if you're new, like I'm new to certain dance forms like country swing, and I can just go in and say, hey, this is all I know, right? So if as the follower you come in and go, hey, I've only danced this long, this is all I know, that sets me up for success as the leader. Same thing as the leader, I have to try to either ask or just quickly pay attention, right? If I'm dancing with someone right here, I'm starting to learn what's happening. Okay, she gave me diaphragm contact. Okay, well, she's obviously had a good teacher, been to a bunch of lessons, but if I get droopy arms, right, then I'm like, okay, that's a whole different story, and the approach to my dance is gonna be completely different. So I think that's the same for the followers too. Monitor what's on the other end of your hand. Megan says use your senses, right? You can see who's in the room. So having a goal to go out to dance is gonna be helpful. Then, this is what was taught to me when I first learned. They said, dance with people better than you. Only dance with people better than you, and then you'll know it's your fault. But then make sure you dance with people not as good with you, because if you're really that good, you can actually use your skills to bring them up a level. So definitely dance with people that are better than you and dance with people that are not as good as you. So don't be intimidated to go up the food chain, and certainly don't become elitist and then blank out the newbies.
Yep.
Another one is to have a mentor. So what do I mean by a mentor? And this was important to us as we were coaching a lot of people, and competitive dancing or social dancing, but having someone that you can bring feedback to. That could be a dancer in your town. If you're fortunate enough to have a private lesson teacher, that is 100% your best resource. Even if your private lesson teacher isn't the coolest kid on the block, I promise you, if they're teaching dance full time, and you have a relationship with them, that is going to be your number one counselor, coach, mentor. And if you don't have someone like that, well, we can be your mentors right here on the channel. You can ask questions to us and we'll give you the best advice we possibly can. But it could be an advanced dancer in your area, but definitely having some sort of mentorship. And then we like to round these numbers out to even numbers. So number 7 is to have fun. This is a journey dancing. I've been on this journey since 1997. Megan and I will have been dancing 20 years in July together. So it's a journey. There's ups and downs. It's a fun path, but don't quit. And I come bearing gifts. If you want to download our best practice songs for all the different dance styles, you can do that over here. And if you want to watch a video we did, 3 tips for social dancers that we did in a little bit of a different approach than this video, you can watch that down here. See you guys on the dance floor soon.